Nerazzurri fans from all over the world, welcome to the Interglobe. They didn't dare. Thank God they didn't dare. And we made it Froggy style. Remember last year? Ranocchia with Empoli, extra time, Coppa Italia, round of 16, bicycle kick, and it was the beginning of a dream. Let's hope that this is the case for us this time as well. Let's go to the game. First of all, there were 40,000 people, and what bothers me is that tonight in San Siro for Milan-Torino there will be 60,000 people. We all know that Inter fans are a bit more sophisticated and they don't just go to any game for the sake of it. For example, I remember in my younger years that when Milan was in Serie B, yes, when Milan was in Serie B, it was twice in Serie B, but the first time, the stadium was full for any game, Milan Cavese, Milan Como, everything was always sold out. So, we are a little bit more demanding, let's say, Inter fans than Milan fans. Yet, I don't like this fact because in Serie A we are going head to head as leaders in the number of fans. So I hope that we will be able to recuperate. And I think that this also has a little bit to do with the way the team plays, right? Because honestly, Milan plays well and the supporters are enthusiastic, while Inter is sort of a roller coaster this year, and it's not easy to, even as a fan, to maintain consistency in your passion when you see certain games. Yesterday game was not approached in the right way, and we started off visibly intoxicated by Monza's result and the consequent processes and media titles putting pressure on us. And we were very slow, without ideas, honestly. It was always passing the ball back and then from one side to the other, but very slowly. And that's why I think that Parma deserved to score, also because they were very aggressive. Their line of pressing was so forward that we couldn't really build our plays in peace ever. So it was the best approach of the game was the one that Parma put on the pitch. And for this, I think that they deserved to score. It was like an Euro goal. Onana couldn't do anything. And after that, we were still not able to come back with the right strength. In the second half, we started off better. I have to say that I noticed Bernabé, this player, my God, he's a player to buy tomorrow. He's amazing. He did dominate midfield. Okay, we didn't have our starting lineup with Brozovic, with Barella, and with all the players that usually play in the starting lineup like Çalhanoğlu, but still, I think that Bernabé is a player to keep in mind. Anyway, after the beginning of the second half, in which we tried to do a bit more, at the end of the game, when honestly we didn't almost deserve to tie it, Lautaro pulls off this great goal with the help of a defender of Parma, but still he manages to score, and after that everything psychologically was a bit downhill. So we went to extra time and then we managed to score with Acerbi and we won. But in extra time you could already see that Inter had the capability to win, while during the game, during the 90 minutes, you couldn't see that, honestly. So in the extra time was the only part of the game in which Inter played better than Parma. Let's come to the players. Onana, 6+. He did a nice save in extra time, but all in all, he was not very much solicited by the shots of Parma. In the first half, he did do a good save with a shot from the distance. And he also passed the ball around quite confidently, so it's a 6+ for Onana. D'Ambrosio, 5.5. He was honestly rusty. understandably. He never plays, so when he starts playing a game, you need to get the rhythm, you need to get into the zone, and he took physiologically almost an hour to get to the right speed. So he did a very terrible mistake in the very beginning that could have costed us a goal when he was coming out of the fence, and he gave the ball to Parma's player. He slowly, like a diesel, started playing better with time. And for example, during the extra time, he did some nice plays, especially when it came to construct plays, which he's very good at. So all in all, is a 5.5. I don't want to be harsh with D'Ambrosio because I can understand that if you don't play, you just need a little time to get acquainted again with the context. De Vrij, I want to give him a 6, or De Vrij as they call him in Holland, because he played better than other times, because he persevered, and despite the kind of light injury that he had, he stayed on the pitch and he kept on playing. So he demonstrated attachment to our colors, because many players wouldn't do that. And for this reason, yes, he was a bit late on Juric's goal, but I want to reward his performance with a 6 yesterday. Bastoni 5.5. I expect more from you, Bastoni. There's nothing else to add. You were pretty good in constructing plays, but in defense, not precise enough. So it's a 5.5, and I hope that you can really get back in shape soon, because we miss your personality, and we miss your game when it's at the top. Now it's not at the top, so it's 5.5. A train Dumfries. In Italy we have these impeccable trains, always on time, that go from Milan to Rome, and Milan to Napoli, Milan to Firenze, Milan to Venice. If you go, for example, from Naples to Reggio Calabria, you are fucked. You're gonna take days, the train is gonna show up hours late, the compartments have no air conditioning. I mean, all the things that could go wrong in our railway structure, because it's a bit of a mirror of the country, right? Well, yesterday Dumfries, instead of being a train, was one of those trains that goes from Naples to Salerno or down south, because he was really awful. Yes, I heard that he played with a little bit of an injury. I don't care. Simone, if he's injured in such a way that he has to play the way he played, you have to leave him out. I don't care. Put a guy from the youth team or somebody else, but not him. He was really awful. I mean, he's never been a guy who dribbles, but even in terms of passing the ball, he made some stupid mistakes that could have easily been avoided. He really has, as we say, a marble feet, meaning that precision is not his strong suit, let's say. He reminded me a lot of Biraghi, unfortunately. Every time they gave him the ball, he passed the ball back. I can understand that you're not a dribbler, so if they give you the ball when you're pressed by the man, you can't do much. But okay, if you don't know how to do that, run and move around the pitch in such a way that you can give the ball and then run and ask for the give and go to another player. But you can't pass the ball back 150 times. You just can't. Supporters go crazy, justly, because you lose time and you build frustration, and it's a lose-lose situation. So terrible game by Dumfries, and unfortunately you get a 4. Gagliardini, it was a 6 for me, because he was playing better than usual until he was recuperating balls here and there, but almost at the end of the game he gave a ball to Parma's players in our construction phase, and you can't make those mistakes. Those mistakes cost eliminations. You cannot make those mistakes. So even though I appreciated the spirit with which Gagliardini confronted the game, because honestly Gagliardini is one of the players that supporters criticize the most, so I understand that it's not easy to play with this sort of media behind you. That's why I was going to give you a 6, but in the very end, with that mistake, you got to a 5. Aslani, on the other hand, I would like to reward him with a 6.5 because I really appreciated the way he played. 20 years old without the main actors of midfield. So he had to play with Gagliardini and Mkhitaryan, which is not easy, of course, and they themselves haven't played together even a game so far. He was very good. I liked how difficult it is to foresee the movements of this player, even when he's controlling the ball for the first time. So he's very good in setting himself free, even when it comes to just controlling the ball. I really enjoyed this. He made a lot of long shots, changing the game from one side to the other, and he did so very well, very precisely. So he also kicked a couple of corner kicks very well, and he participated in both the actions of the goals. So for me, it's a 6.5 because Aslani was really, really positive. Mkhitaryan, it's a 5. Mkhitaryan was completely confused after the disaster that he did with this sombrero in Monza, so you could see that he was still psychologically under the train because of this. And he just didn't cover on Juric's goal well enough, which is his Achilles heel, let's say, because it's something that is recurrent in the defensive phase for Mkhitaryan. And so he should have been the player to get the midfield on his shoulders. Instead, it was Aslani who did that. And that's why Mkhitaryan gets a 5. Gosens 6 minus, because with Parma you have to do more than this. He did give a great ball to Gagliardini in the first half, and Gagliardini missed it in the way that we all have seen. It was sort of a penalty kick in movement, kind of, not as easy, but he could have done better. And so in this respect, Gosens was good. He also made a couple of good crosses, but I expect more in these games. So it's 6 minus. Lauti 7 plus, 7 plus. Supercharged since the beginning, like a leader. He scored a very important goal, even if it's a non-goal, but he was there, he shot the ball, it wasn't easy at all with a right foot, and that's already by itself fundamental. Then he also went on in doing great plays. He passed with the sort of trivela with the external part of the foot. He passed the ball to Dzeko, which was kind of a done deal. The goal was done, but then Buffon made a miracle. So that assist also counts towards his 7 plus. And 7 plus because he decided to stay on the pitch. He had cramps, he was super tired, but he didn't want to go out. He didn't want to leave his teammates. So that's a sign of leadership, personality, and that's why Lautaro is 7 plus. Correa, from showcasing personality to showcasing nothingness. Correa is a 3.5. 3.5 because he's just light. Some Inter fans call him butterfly because he's really, you don't feel his presence on the pitch at all. He was completely unplugged mentally and psychologically and physically. Okay, I can understand that it's tough to be Argentinian, not to participate to the World Cup because of a last-minute injury, to see your teammates win the World Cup and to have to come back to Inter and start playing there again. But you have to do it. You're really running the risk to see your career going downhill. And it's a pity because I think technically you have the qualities, and most of all I think that economically you're such a burden for our team that seeing you play like this means that nobody will ever make an offer to buy you, so we're gonna have to keep you in the squad, and it's not easy considering that we had to keep you instead of Sanchez this year. So awful. I mean, I just don't want to be tougher than this. Bellanova, I want to reward him with a 7 minus, and you know why? Because he tries. So such a relief, such a breath of fresh air to see a player trying. Dumfries, trying, my dear Dumfries. He gets the ball and he tries to go. Maybe loses it, as he did, but he tries, so it gives you hope at least. He did one thing that's alone worth the 7 minus. At one point, we suffered a counter attack with 3 Parma players against one, and that one was Bellanova, and he was capable of recuperating the ball. So that's like a goal, and that's worth the 7 minus. But apart from that, yes, he did lose more than one ball, but in more than once he recuperated it right away with that sort of stamina, strength, anger that only players like Matteus I've seen showcasing. So I love this. You lose the ball, you go and you get it back. He did do some bad crosses. He had a header in the end that was could have been done better. But all in all, 7 minus. I have a lot of faith in this player because he's fast as hell and he is humble. Coming to drone delivery Di Marco, this time is a 5.5. Why? I didn't like the way he played in defense, especially in one occasion in which there was a player from Parma who shot the ball and Di Marco turned around. What is this trend of turning around like this? What is this trend? Like Acerbi did in Monza. I don't understand it. Okay, put your arms behind your back to avoid penalties, but stay there. I don't care if he hits you in the face. You just stay there because if you turn around, you just give him too much advantage, too much advantage. So I didn't like the way he played in defense. He did a couple of wrong corner kicks and a couple of wrong crosses, but he also had some couple of cashmere controls that were really very beautiful, especially the one that led to the second goal from Dzeko. So that ball from Aslani, great cashmere control, ball in the center, and then the goal from, sorry, not Dzeko, but Acerbi. So because of all of this, it's not a terrible game, but it's a 5.5 for Di Marco. Dzeko 7 minus. He had that great shot on the Trivela passage from Lauti, and Buffon literally made a miracle. I have to say, 45 years old, but he had the reaction time of a young goalkeeper, and so I appreciated this by Dzeko. It wasn't his fault. He shot very well, but the Buffon was amazing. He also crossed the ball very well more than once. So for me, it's a 7 minus because he brought to the pitch this kind of intensity that we needed. And by the way, Buffon was booed the whole game, and I also don't like him as a player, of course, because he's a Juventus player, but as a man and as an athlete, maximum respect, because 45 years old playing in Serie A, what? I mean, with the Serie A team in San Siro, even if it's in Serie B Parma, but still very, very good. And then we have Darmian, 6 plus. Nice passes as usual, a guy you can count on always. 6 plus for Darmian. Acerbi, of course, we go to 7 because even 7.5. 7.5 for Acerbi because he did a wonderful assist for Lauti in the beginning of the extra time when he had a header and the ball went behind to Lauti, and then he scored. So just for this, it's a 7.5 for Acerbi, and it's no grade for Skriniar because he played too little. Inzaghi, 5. Inzaghi, 5. You can do all the turnover you want, but if you don't win the game in the 90 minutes and you played with this approach, and the players that you choose for the turnover play the way they played, you haven't understood anything. 5. If you don't understand also after putting on the pitch a starting lineup that proves to be wrong, you have to intervene. At the end of the first half, after the way that D'Ambrosio and Dumfries played, you just cannot afford to not substitute them. Dumfries and D'Ambrosio have to stay in the locker room. You can't make the changes after 1 hour. When you see such appalling performances, you just can't. You lose time for nothing. Because of this, and because of the fact that with Parma you have to put the game to sleep in the first half instead of going to extra time, you got a 5, Simone. The team doesn't have the right personality. It's not consistent. It's not hammering game after game. It's just going like a roller coaster, as we always say, and like your balls, sometimes you showcase personality, sometimes you don't. So we need to find this consistency if we want to do something good in Serie A. For this Coppa Italia and Champions League and Supercoppa Italiana, these one game competitions, it's not important to be consistent. You can have a great game just once, but for Serie A, consistency is fundamental. That's all. Thank you so much for watching. Please punch the like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel. It's very important for me, and leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and as always, Forza Magica Inter!